Hello! Like I said in my last knitcast or knitting podcast, I don't know if you follow those, I was thinking about doing separate segments for my sewing, and this is my first attempt at that. So let's just get going and we'll see where we end up with this. First of all, I've been sewing for quite a few years. I have been a knitter for 40 years this year. I haven't been sewing quite as long as that, but not far from. However, I haven't been consistent in the same way as I have been with knitting, and I have had quite a few years where I've basically not been sewing anything at all. And I've thought a lot about this, and the reason for this is that when you start sewing and making your own garments, it's one thing to sew your own curtains and all that, you know, nobody has an issue with that. It's okay, it's very cool and you're so good. But if you start sewing your own clothes, or you just want to do that and make your own wardrobe, something happens to the people around you. And it's like sewing your own garments and sewing your own wardrobe is something that it's cheap, and it signals that you are poor or whatever. And it's just if your value as a human just drops if you do that. Which is so weird to me, because really, why is it better to go out to the store, to H&M or Lindex, or if you have a lot of money and you can go to the more high-end fashion distributors, why is that better to buy mass manufactured clothing that is not made for your body, for your specific body type, instead of making clothing yourself that is fitted to you? I will never understand that. And I've always felt that I had, in my relationships, an example, when I've spoken about it, there's always been this resistance because of that. And it's been like I haven't been allowed to put money forward to buy fabrics and to make my own stuff, because I don't know why. It's insane to me. It's crazy to me. I don't get that, why that is. Because, and I don't know, I'm not sure I was actually 100% aware of this thing happening and why it's happening, but it was there. I knew it was there. It was annoying, and I did make some efforts still, and I have made a few garments for myself over the years. But I think most of all I stopped talking about it, because it's almost as if it's shameful to make your own clothes. And I guess this is kind of a historical, I don't know, stigma maybe. It's because that's what they used to do in the old days, when they didn't have money to buy clothes. They would make them themselves. I mean, my grandmother made all of clothes, I think, well, most of it anyway. And she made clothes for her kids, and it was a natural thing. This is what you did. But I guess it was some kind of exclusivity to being able to buy clothes. But still, I don't think you can transfer that view from that time period to today, because today there's such a large production in clothes making. It's this huge industry where you just make a zillion copies of each garment, and they all look the same, and they have this shape, and the sizing is always off. Have you noticed? Especially if you're a woman. A size 42 in this store is not the same as a size 42 in that store. And some garments are, you know, if it's a full garment, maybe it is actually a size 38 at the top, then it's a size 34 at the bottom, and it's, I don't know. Long rant, I'm sorry. I just get really frustrated about it, and I guess I've been thinking more about it lately, and just kind of, because I started watching a lot of sewists on YouTube that have channels for sewing and making their own garments. And what struck me is the subliminal body positivity that they convey in their videos, because I realized I had never heard any of them say that I really want to make this garment, but I have to lose weight first. It just doesn't happen. They never say that I need to adjust myself to fit into the garment. And I mean, how often have you heard someone say that when they want to have a specific garment that is store-bought, that, oh, I need to lose weight before I can wear that. Instead, the sewists are saying, I really want to have this garment, I have to do this and this to adjust it so that it will fit me. It will fit my body type. And they say, oh, I want to make this or that, but I don't look like that, so I have to make these adjustments. They adjust the garment to them instead of adjusting themselves to the garment. And that is how it should be. Instead of having, I don't know, this I can't believe we have a society that still promotes this thing of store-bought, industrialized, being better than what you make yourself, what you make and design and adjust yourself and for your body. So I think, no, I know I will not stand for that anymore. I don't care what people think. I don't. I will make my own clothes if I darn well want to. I don't care what anybody else thinks about it. I am a designer. I'm a knitwear designer and I'm a sewist. I can make my own clothes and I can make it look good. I can make it look so much better than anything I can buy in a store. So that's what I'm going to do. Which means, like I said, I have been sewing for quite a few years. I think I started sewing when I was 8 or 9, I think. I'm not sure exactly when I started. I do remember starting knitting for real when I was 6, which is why I'm 4 years in now. But sewing, I remember sewing clothes for my dolls. And I guess I must have been 8 or 9, 10 maybe. I think I didn't start using a sewing machine at first either. I was hand sewing stuff, and I have like small patches of fabric that I could work with. So that's where I started. I started doing dolls' clothes. And the funny thing about that, I didn't do dolls' clothes to play with per se. I made outfits. I made complete outfits. I made dresses, and I made, you know, a backpack or a bag of some kind, and I knitted a coat, and I made a hat, and so I kind of made a whole design, basically. So I suppose I've had that with me always, the desire to design and to make clothes, to make my own, like a whole set of stuff that I could combine, and yeah. And it's always been there. So the decision I have made now is that I am going to run with it for reals. So that was a lot of ranting just to say that I am going to be sewing more, and I'm going to just indulge myself and dive headfirst into that rabbit hole for reals now. But I just wanted also to touch on this body positivity that you do get from watching these channels, and I hope I will be able to convey the same thing to those of you watching this, because God knows I'm not a standard size anything or anywhere at all, not by a long shot, and definitely not now at this time in life. I'm 46 years old, so I my body has changed. I've given birth to 5 children, I've been through a lot, and that's the way it's supposed to be. You will change. Most of us do. So I hope I will be contributing to conveying this body positivity and this notion of that it is a natural thing to adjust clothing to you and not the other way around. You're not supposed to adjust yourself to the clothing you want to wear. Because that's, I mean, when you think about it, that's insane, right? So, yeah, I'm hoping I can contribute to that. So, what I did was, the other day I was cleaning up upstairs and I realized I have these moving boxes that have never been unpacked. You know the kind, we all have them, and I've been moving quite a lot over the years, and you always end up having these miscellaneous boxes of something or other. And I wanted to move them or get rid of them, so I opened them up and I had a look inside, and it turns out that there was a lot of patterns in there. And I guess somewhere I knew, I just haven't, you know, it's old patterns, I haven't used them in years, I haven't, you know, it's kind of, it's been in the back of my head, but it hasn't been prioritized to have a look at them and take care of them. So what I did, I dived into those boxes. There were 2 of them. There was a lot of stuff in those boxes, but quite a lot of patterns as well. And it turns out that the majority of the patterns in there were stuff that I haven't looked at in at least 10 to 15 years. And the majority of it is even older than that. It's patterns that I were using. There's a lot of kids patterns of pants and sweaters and stuff that I made when my eldest kid was a little wee one. I have there are patterns that are for just the newborns that I know I sewed stuff for him with those patterns, and he turns 24 in April this year. So they've been with me for quite a while. So I'm going to put on glasses so I can see what I'm doing. Let me show you. This is one of the piles I found. And oh, I'll try not to flip everything over. And here is the other one. So this was quite a haul. And I indulged myself in just looking through all these patterns that, yeah, the stuff I've been making. And there were things in there that I've been designing as well. I did make, when my middle child, now 15, was, I don't know, a couple of years old, I think, 2 years old. I wanted to make her what we call bunad. I'm from Norway. I don't know if you can tell, the Mario sweater on. It's like a folk costume kind of thing that we have there, and it's a different one for different parts of the country. And these are very, very expensive, and it's not something you usually get to a child. The children usually get more of a simple store-bought that kind of looks like one of these costumes. But for the adults, there are well, it's a very expensive garment. It's the dress with the embroidery, and there's silver, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into those. But I wanted to make one of these cute little replicas for my daughter when she was little. And I found in this pile of patterns, I found my first sketches of this. As you can see, I am no illustrator, but you get the idea. And I actually made her a dress like that, and I can show you because I still have it. And here it is. And it has the apron, and there you go. And this is a whole dress. Unfortunately, I've had this hanging in a window, so it has been bleached on the back side here, but well, that's what happens. And this fabric is actually from the wedding dress I wore when I married her father. Oh, I'll just put that there. Which is a story in and of itself, and I'll get back to that. I have also been wanting to have one of these bunads for myself also, but like I said, they are extremely expensive. And even if you try to make them yourself, this with all the embroidery and all that, you have to take classes to learn how to. And it's still very, very expensive. So I was having the idea, and I still do, that I would like to make one for myself. And I did apparently start making a sketch for one for myself, but this is as far as I got. But that is something I would really, really like to do someday. So that is, it's on my to-do list. And other things from this pile, like I said, there was a lot of children's clothes, a lot of children's patterns for, well, pants and sweatshirts and all kinds of things from larger size. This pattern, which was actually drawn up for me by a friend of mine back then. She later had some issues in life that meant we couldn't stay in touch, but back then we kind of both, she had kids, also had young kids, and we had like, I don't know, a year and a half or maybe 2 years where we just completely dove into this whole making kind of thing and making clothes for our kids. And we also made bodies for ourselves, like the bathing suit kind of thing. Those were popular in the like early or mid 90s. We sewed a lot of those for ourselves, and it was so much fun to have someone with the same interest and the same passion above all to do these things. And I think I've missed that ever since, to have a friend like that that is equally passionate about making stuff yourself and trying new things and trying new patterns. So I have quite a few patterns that she drew up for me. And I have, oh, there's a lot of goodies in here. I also found maternity clothes. I found something that I think must have been a pair of pants, because I had the problem when I got pregnant, I got huge. And even finding maternity clothes in stores that would fit me, that would fit my gigantic belly was a big issue. So I have patterns for that as well in here. And, well, there's so much fun stuff in here. There's so many memories in these piles. Oh, and here's the pattern for the bunad. These are the pattern pieces. Or some of this is for the top. And I also had, turns out, I had a lot of, like small pattern pieces for, I don't know, I was making tulips apparently. Here's a leaf that was meant to go with that. I have patterns for outfits for Barbie dolls in here. Applique, and all kinds of stuff that I have made myself. And it was so much fun to find these and just, have a look through and see what I did. Then there was also, a magazine with patterns, and this is just, I have a pile like yay big of magazines that contains both sewing and knitting stuff that I've been saving with stuff that I want to make. I had this, I used this pattern a lot when my kid was young. I sewed a lot of clothes from this. I don't know if you could see that. This one, let's see, let's all the pattern parts. This pattern, can you see that? This is actually my second wedding dress. I've been married twice, and I'll see if I can find a picture of the actual dress that I made in that blue fabric that I showed you earlier. Yeah, and I'll see if I can insert a picture here of what that wedding dress looked like. But like I said, it was made in that blue fabric that I made the bunad for my kid from. There was a lot of treasures in those boxes. I found this that I actually have. I'm not sure what this is. I think one of these pieces at least is for a body, same type of thing that me and my friend used to make with the ones that look like bathing suits basically. But I think it is also an option for the long legs. I have no recollection of ever wanting to make that, but who knows, maybe I did. But I also have one here that is sleeves on, so I have no idea what that is. If that is a part of, if these all belong together. So it's a bit of a treasure hunt, this. I found, I guess this is kind of a classic 80s pattern also. I do believe I wanted to make, I'm not sure, what is this? Is this, oh, it's the jacket and the skirt, so I was probably intending to make both. I have a vague recollection of that, but I never did. I have opened the pattern, that's all, but I've never actually used it. Maybe I'll do that this year. And I found this coat. Can you see that through the plastic? It's, I don't know, maybe. I do remember attempting to make this, but with modifications that did not turn out well. I'm not sure entirely what I was aiming to do, but I think I may have had the idea that I wanted to make like a matrix type of coat that is more flared at the bottom, you know? This is more a regular coat, and I think that was what I tried to do, and that I failed with the flaring part of it. So, but it's still a good coat pattern. It's a basic coat pattern, so maybe I will use that again someday. And I found, now this is an oldie but goodie. This pattern was gifted to me by my aunt. Or actually, rather, in the 80s she made this coat for herself in a black cotton fabric, and she lined it with bright pink. And I remember I thought this coat was so awesome. And my aunt was a bit heavy set back then, and I don't know if she felt it didn't fit her quite well or whatever the reason was, but she gifted me that coat. And I think I wore it to pieces, and I've missed that coat ever since. So quite a few years ago I asked her if she would happen to have that pattern still, and she did, and she gifted me the pattern. So I have the complete pattern here, and I have this idea that someday I will be making that coat again in the black. It was like a structured black cotton that she'd used for it, and the bright pink lining. Yeah, so someday I'm going to make that for sure, because I really miss that item. So it was quite a blast from the past going through this. Here's another one. I seem to have a thing for coats. This one I remember, it was that one, and this must have been early 90s as well, and I was going to make this in like a faux fur kind of, like polyester soft fabric in red. Or was I intending to make it in fleece maybe? Maybe I was, I'm not sure. Like a cozy, comfy, oh, you know what? I did! Oh, I just remembered, I did make that red coat. Oh, I wonder what happened to it. I did make it, and I used it for several years, and somewhere along the line it has disappeared. That's also an item I would love to remake actually. So, maybe I should make a plan for that, for remakes of stuff that I have loved through the years. This is definitely one of them. Wow, I can't believe I had forgotten about that coat. It was, I believe it was in red fleece, and I think I had lined it with red lining as well. Yeah, I really like that. I also found this one, which is, I don't know, it just screams 80s. And I am not sure what, I do remember buying this pattern, and I do remember planning to modify it, but exactly how, I don't know. But there is a note inside in the back, and I have to look. I have no idea what I had planned for this. This is, what was I planning to do with this? Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea. I have no idea what I meant by this. Yeah, well, true 80s. Maybe if I'm going to a 80s party sometime I can do that. Or I could make just the dress and omit all these ruffle things, whatever it is. But yeah, cool. I'm having so much fun here. Then, and this, now we're going way, way back. This pattern is from the 70s. This is a pattern that my mother, once upon a time when I had one, used to sew this type of dress skirt thing. She made one for me, and she made one for my sister. And I remember the fabric being yellow and something else. I don't know if it was with something white, or maybe there was flowers on it, I'm not sure. But it was mainly yellow. And my baby sister and I had the same skirt dress, both of us. And this is also, we haven't been in touch in many years now, but once when we were, I did ask her if she still had the pattern, and she did, and she gifted it to me, which I'm very grateful for. So I do remember this item very fondly. I remember I really loved that skirt dress. Why is it dress? I really loved that when I was a kid, and I remember feeling pretty in it. So I was very happy to have this pattern. I have no idea what I'm going to use it for, or if I'm going to use it at all, ever. But it's a nice thing to have in my pattern collection. And then there is this one. I'm sorry, this is like a huge trip down memory lane, but it was so much fun to find this. Pants and a sweater for my kid. Here's a dress. Oh, sorry. Can you see that? Oh, so I think I was planning on making the black one, and I might just still do that because I really like that one. I like that model. And same thing with this one. I would absolutely make that one. This one I will definitely not make. It's a maternity dress outfit, and I am never having any more kids, so that is not happening. But who knows? Maybe I'll have a friend someday that will need some type of maternity wear, then I will be ready. And here is, oh, this is very much, oh, I'm sorry, it's a bit heavy. This is very much my style, the big shirts and the loose pants, and I really like that. Very comfortable. And here we have, I know what is that? It's like a shirt dress, I think. Yeah. It's like a shirt dress, and oh, I'm sorry, the sun is popping in here now. And another coat. Like I said, I seem to have been on a coat kick for a while there. And here is a very special one. This is the wedding dress that never happened. And this is a story in and of itself. It's a McCall's pattern for wedding dress, and I remember wanting to make this one for my first wedding, and I couldn't for various reasons. And I was thinking I would make a blog post about this, about the wedding dresses I've been through, I almost said. The wedding dresses that I've had, the ones I wanted, and yeah, because there's a story there. So there will be a blog post on that, and it will probably be up before you see this episode as well. But this is the wedding dress that didn't happen, and to this day I still want to make it. Even though I have no intention of ever getting married again. I'm not even seeing anyone. But a part of me still wants to make this. But yeah, just to make it, you know? Oh, I'm so sorry about the lighting. The sun just came out and it's just glaring into through my windows here. And I also had this pattern for the bridesmaids. Oh shoot, that sun is annoying. Can you see it? Yeah. I wanted to make that as well. I didn't feel quite as strongly about that as I did about the wedding dress, but I did want to make that as well. And then there are some more random ready cut patterns in here. Yeah, that's all the patterns that were in those boxes. Like I said, it was so much fun finding those, and it's a true walk down memory lane to go through these and, you know, just see things I've been wanting to make, things I have made, and remembering how I felt, in particular the time period when I had a friend that was equally passionate about these things, because that's something I've missed ever since then. My apologies guys, but this first episode of my sewing adventure is apparently going to be a really long one, but I guess I have accumulated a lot of stuff and yeah, sewing things that matter to me for a very long time. So bear with me. I will try not, or I won't be this I won't be making such long episodes in the future. Let's see. My plans now, I'm thinking I will have a monthly theme for my makes for 2019, and my theme for February is not that exciting really, but it's still good nonetheless. I am thinking of making wardrobe staples, which is always something you need. And we are currently in the dead of winter. We had a lot of snow. I think we had like this much snow just since yesterday over here. So, you know, wardrobe staples is actually what you need this time of year, and they are also good practice. I have, however, been sewing quite a lot lately, and especially the last 6 or 7 months or so, I've been picking up the pace. And for January, which was before I decided I would have this kind of monthly theme, but I did start, which is the reason why I'm doing separate segments for sewing. I did start making this coat that was supposed to be a winter coat for my 13-year-old son, whom have of course changed his mind since then. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of pockets happening here on this one, and there's one with a pocket flap, and there's these pockets that are attached on the outside. And so I've had the opportunity to practice my pocket making techniques, you might say, for this project. this was a project that I was supposed to have started, oh, I don't know, November, I think. But it took some time before I kind of got to it and got started. And I think probably because I knew my 13-year-old would probably change his mind. He's in that age right now. Those of you with teenagers know what I mean. And I also knew that this is, I'm not going to say it's a difficult pattern. Oh, by the way, it's the Toasty coat it's a pattern available on Etsy by Waffle something. If you search for Toasty, Tosti, you will find this coat. There's a female version and a male version of it. It's like a utility coat. But anyway, I got started a few weeks ago in January and started cutting up the pieces. And what my kid wanted, this is not the original pattern as it is made up, because what my kid wanted was a coat that looked like a panda. So it was to be black up here, and it has black sleeves, and he wanted it to have a hood that you could pull like really far down, and it would look like a panda head and all that. So I did have to make a few modifications to the pattern to get the colors in where they were supposed to be, which took quite a lot of work. And, oh, excuse me. And this was also a PDF pattern, which meant I have used PDF patterns before a couple of times, but only for small items. And this was, you know, like a whole coat, and I printed it, and it was like 1,000,000 pages of PDFs for the coat. And I remember I think I spent a whole evening just cutting out and taping everything together and getting everything ready. And then when I'm ready to go, I think I have a look at the pattern again, and I realize that, oh, I need to cut almost the same amount of pages for the lining, and there's like 15 pages for the pockets. So it was quite a big undertaking to print this pattern from a PDF, and it took quite a lot of time to get everything together. But now I've started, I'm getting going, and then I was thinking that I would try to have this coat ready by the end of January. It was a long shot, but you know, I was making some headway with the pockets and everything, and I felt that all the details, the small details, were kind of coming into place, and I thought that it would be pretty much just large chunks of sewing. Then it turned out, when I was about to attach the collar to the neck here, the outside part of the collar, excuse me, I realized that I needed like the push buttons, because the hoodie is supposed to be attached with buttons, and that I didn't have those. So the project once again halted, and I thought, you know, I don't know when I will be able to go to the city to buy those kinds of buttons, or if I should order them online, and then because I live quite far out on the countryside, so I'll either have to order it by via the internet, or I'll have to go to the city, which is like 40 minutes away to the closest one. So yeah, the project halted, and then I had this idea about diving into those moving boxes with the patterns and everything. And what do you know? I found a package of exactly the type of buttons that I needed. So now I have those, and I can continue working on this project, which I will. And even though we are into February now, I will still count that one as my January project. And yeah, I'll just finish it whenever. I'm not going to be... There's no need to be in a hurry, because my kid has decided he doesn't want that coat anymore, and I don't have a recipient for it. It doesn't fit me, unless I suddenly lose weight overnight here quite a lot, but whatever. I'm going to finish it anyway, because it is already started, it is a good learning experience, and who knows, someday someone will turn up that needs a coat like that. Although I will omit the panda head kind of hood for it, and I'll just go with the regular one. So yes, again, February. Like I said, wardrobe staples is my goal for this month. I'm thinking sweaters, t-shirts, tights maybe. And I have a pile of fabric here. Oh, there you go. Quite a big pile of fabric here that I think I will be using for that purpose. I'm not sure which I'm going to use for what. The turquoise and the pink one are sturdier woven cotton or knitted cotton fabrics. And these, the white and the black and the grey, are, I don't know, I think it's some kind of cotton jersey. It's a lot of stretch in those, so those would be good for tights and also for underwear, which I will also be making. I have been making a few items, underwear items, panties actually, last year, and I have loved those. I have been far more happy with the quality of those than the store-bought, because I don't know, I guess you could of course get high quality store-bought underwear as well, but I guess I am the kind of person who tends to just go for the cheap option, and because I think it's usually too expensive. Because I know I can make these things myself, and then I kind of value them from that perspective. And so last year I decided I would actually make my own underwear, and I did, and it turned out very well. I've been very, very happy with those items, and I am absolutely planning on continuing doing that. And I have no plans whatsoever of ever buying store-bought underwear ever again, unless it is something special that I truly want. So that's what I'm going to be doing with at least some of this fabric as well. And for the top fabric here, this is something I saw in a picture and I just absolutely fell in love with it. This is going to be a t-shirt and possibly also a pair of panties, because I think I will have enough left of that once I've done the t-shirt. I actually did at least three t-shirts last year. Maybe I can show you those next time. And I've been loving those a lot, and I will be making a t-shirt out of this one as well for sure, even though it's quite autumny, I know, but like I said, I fell in love with this fabric, so definitely going to be making that. So that's my plan for February for sewing. And like I said, I don't have a particular item in mind, a particular pattern in mind right now that I will be using, but I do have a lot of basic patterns that I want to, or that I can use if I want to. And I've also made sweaters earlier from patterns that I know work well. So there are quite a few to choose from, and maybe I'm thinking I would show you that next week. Which pattern I'm choosing from and which I'm working with. So that is happening in February. Even though I have a monthly theme, you know what? I'm sorry, I need to have a bit of tea here. I've talked a lot now. My throat is starting to give way. Where was I? Oh yes, even though I have a monthly theme, it doesn't mean I only have to sew within that theme for that month. So I do also have a couple of other ideas for February that I will be making. Oh, good heavens, my throat is giving away completely now. I'm talking way too much. I will try to wrap this up soon before we are, I don't know, God knows how long this episode will be, but like I said, it's just the first one. Let's call this a pilot, and I will keep the upcoming ones way shorter. At least that's my ambition. So like I said, even though I do have a monthly theme, it doesn't mean I will only be sewing within that theme. It's more a thought that I will focus on that to make sure I get that, and then I can add on other stuff as depending on what I have time for and feel like, and you know, whatever. So I have actually, I do have one more thing that I want to do. Originally, I was thinking that I would each month of 2019, I would make one garment, sew one garment, and I would upcycle one garment or one item. And I'm thinking I will sort of keep that idea, because there will be a garment every month, at least one garment every month. And I also want to keep the upcycling thing, because I really enjoy doing it. I really enjoy the idea of upcycling, and I am the kind of person, I'm not a hoarder, but I am the kind of person that tends to save stuff. I save old clothes that are no longer fit me, or because I think they look good for whatever reason, and with the idea that I will make something else from them. And I thought I'd just show you. I made, those of you who have watched my knitting podcast have seen these. I made project bags for my knitting in old children's jeans. I got a whole bag full from a friend of mine. And this is exactly the type of thing that I want to be doing more frequently. I did make, I didn't bring that. I made a sweater in, I think that was December. I upcycled the sweater. I'll try to remember to bring that next time, and I'll show you that. And I have piles and piles of clothes that I have been saving from when the kids were young, well, they're still young, well, then when they were smaller, and stuff that I used to wear that have, I don't know, motifs that I like, or a fabric that I like, or, you know, whatever, but that for some reason no longer fit me. So I want to reuse those and make something new instead. So I want to have that as a recurring theme as well every month. So one new, and it doesn't have to be a garment, I can make it into something else. I can make, you know, I don't know, pillows or a bag or a project bags for knitting, or, you know, whatever. So that's what I want to do. So that's also coming in February, the wardrobe staples and the upcycled project. And I also have, I went through all my patterns that I have on my computer yesterday, and I found one that is called a French tote, which is a sewing pattern. It was a free sewing pattern that I downloaded years ago in French, which is interesting because I don't speak a word French. Well, maybe one word or two, but that's it. But it's not difficult, and I understand how to make it anyway. And I just always thought that was so cute, and I've been wanting to make it, but I haven't been sure what to do with it. And then it dawned on me yesterday while I went through all this pattern, and I found this one again, that it is about this size, which means I can use it as a project bag for my knitting. And I can't believe I didn't think of that sooner, but there you go. So that is something I am attempting to make as well in February, like an added extra that I would like to add in. And then I'm sure there will be bits and bobs of all kinds of things as well, depending on what I feel inspired to do, and so on. And I also am going to pull myself together and get better at fixing stuff that needs sewing, mending in some way or other. Because again, I don't throw away things. If I see something that I know that, you know, oh, I can fix this, it's repairable, then I will save it. However, I've had my life situation the past years have been such that I've had very, very limited amount of time and energy for that kind of thing. So it's kind of accumulated, and there are the big piles now. So that is also something that I want to really get to during 2019, so that I can get everything, can finish all these piles of projects and things that need mending, and yeah, all of that. Yeah, I think I could still keep talking for quite a while here, but this is a very, very long video now, so I think I'll just end here, and whatever's left to say today I will say next time. And hopefully you will enjoy these videos and the makes and the mistakes I will no doubt make. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I feel really hyped about this. This is so much fun. And I think I would like to go sit at a sewing machine for a few hours right now, but I think I need to go shovel some snow first. But yeah, really looking forward to this, and I hope you will accompany me on the way and perhaps show me some of your projects and thoughts and ideas that you have. So, I will see you next time. Bye.